China's growing influence around the Taiwan Strait and its ambitions to take over Taiwan under the guise of reunification have been a hot topic on the international stage. At first glance, it may seem like China, with its massive military and economic power, could easily cross the Taiwan Strait and seize the island. However, regional dynamics and internal challenges make such an invasion increasingly difficult. The Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA, has been expanding its navy and air force, making it appear well prepared for an invasion. But the obstacles Beijing faces, military, economic, diplomatic, and domestic, are significant. These challenges suggest that a military strike on Taiwan is not as feasible as it might once have seemed. China finds itself caught in a complex equation, facing both internal struggles and external resistance. With U.S. defense support, Taiwan's military reforms, and China's economic and social difficulties, an invasion would be a high-risk gamble. For years, Beijing has framed Taiwan as an inseparable part of China, using nationalist rhetoric to justify a future military intervention. However, growing U.S. support for Taiwan, along with the involvement of Japan and Australia, complicates China's plans. Recent U.S. arms sales and high-level meetings with Taiwanese leaders send strong warnings to Beijing. Even if China builds up its forces near the strait, an invasion attempt could trigger direct or indirect U.S. military intervention, making a swift victory nearly impossible. Sanctions on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine have also strengthened U.S. and allied resolve to counter aggression. Taiwan is no longer an easy target. Experts argue that China's timeline for an invasion is shrinking due to four major factors. First, the U.S. and its allies are more committed than ever to defending Taiwan. Second, Taiwan's own military capabilities have significantly improved through modernization efforts. Third, China's domestic economic and social struggles are mounting. Finally, Taiwan's increasing diplomatic recognition makes it harder for Beijing to act unilaterally. The biggest deterrent for China is the growing international support for Taiwan. A military adventure in the Taiwan Strait wouldn't just be a battle against Taipei, it could escalate into a broader conflict involving the U.S. and regional powers. For decades, Washington has maintained a policy of strategic ambiguity, supplying Taiwan with defensive weapons but avoiding a clear commitment to military intervention. Recently, however, the U.S. position has become more assertive. Advanced weapon systems like F-16V fighter jets, Patriot missile defense systems, and anti-ship missiles have been delivered or are on their way. Several U.S. congressional bills indicate that Taiwan will likely receive even more military aid in the future. High-profile visits by U.S. politicians to Taiwan further reinforce American support, provoking strong reactions from Beijing. In response, China conducts military drills, but these do little to shake the U.S. stance. U.S. officials have even openly stated that a Chinese attack on Taiwan would be met with military force, signaling a shift from previous strategic uncertainty. The message is clear: the U.S. will not allow Taiwan to become another Ukraine. Other key players like Japan, Australia, and South Korea also limit China's options. Japan, due to its proximity, considers Taiwan's security crucial to its own national defense. It has ramped up military spending and deepened cooperation with the U.S.-Australia through its AUKUS partnership with the U.S. and U.K., is also reinforcing regional security. While South Korea officially avoids taking sides, its alliance with the U.S. could push it to indirectly support Taiwan. In short, China wouldn't just face Taiwan in a conflict, it would face a coalition of powerful countries. This greatly increases the cost of any invasion attempt. Taiwan's own military strategy has evolved significantly. For a long time, There were concerns about how Taiwan's small military could counter the massive PLA, but in recent years, Taiwan has adopted an asymmetric defense strategy designed to make an invasion extremely costly for China. Taiwan has upgraded its missile defense systems, developed its own advanced air defense systems, and deployed high-speed anti-ship missiles to counter China's naval forces. Inspired by Ukraine's successful use of drones against Russian tanks, Taiwan is investing in drone warfare to enhance its defensive capabilities. The island is also strengthening its civilian defense, increasing military training, and preparing for long-term resistance in case of an invasion. The goal is clear: delay China's forces long enough to rally international support. Military experts believe that for China to successfully invade Taiwan, it would need to mobilize hundreds of thousands of troops and establish an enormous logistics network. Without clear air and naval superiority, this would be extremely difficult. Taiwan's improved defenses make a quick Chinese victory highly unlikely. Beyond military challenges, China is also constrained by internal economic and social issues. While China remains an economic powerhouse, it faces serious hurdles: an aging population, rising debt, and a slow post-pandemic recovery. If Beijing launches an invasion, it could face crippling economic sanctions similar to those imposed on Russia, but with even greater consequences. Sanctions could include China's exclusion from global financial systems, restrictions on yuan transactions, and mass foreign capital flight. Since China's economy is heavily reliant on exports, losing access to Western markets could cause factory closures, unemployment, and social unrest. At a time when young Chinese citizens are seeking better living standards, a costly war could backfire politically for President Xi Jinping. China also aims to lead in artificial intelligence, 5G, and electric vehicle technology. But an invasion could lead the US and EU to cut off access to crucial technologies, undermining Beijing's long-term economic goals. Given these risks, China must ask itself, is there really a viable window of opportunity for invasion? Instead of strengthening the regime, a failed invasion could destabilize China from within. Another major obstacle is Taiwan's growing diplomatic support. For years, China benefited from Taiwan's lack of official diplomatic recognition, but Taiwan has gained increasing international legitimacy, positioning itself as a defender of democratic values. The global backlash against China's crackdowns in Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and Tibet has only increased skepticism toward Beijing's intentions. If China invades Taiwan, it won't just be seen as a territorial dispute. It will be framed as an authoritarian attack on a thriving democracy. Western nations, having learned from Ukraine, would likely respond more swiftly and decisively this time. Taiwan's economy is also deeply intertwined with the global tech industry, particularly through its semiconductor manufacturing. An attack on Taiwan could disrupt global supply chains, affecting economies worldwide, including China's. Countries like Japan, Germany, and South Korea depend on Taiwan's technology sector, making them more likely to support Taiwan in a crisis. In the past, many nations took a neutral stance on Taiwan, but after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, there is a growing consensus that great power aggression must be deterred. Alliances such as AUKUS and the Quad, US, Japan, Australia, India, are strengthening Taiwan's global ties, making China's diplomatic isolation more likely in the event of an invasion. These four major factors, strong US support, Taiwan's asymmetric defense strategy, China's economic and social vulnerabilities, and Taiwan's growing diplomatic recognition, make a Chinese invasion far less likely in the short term. While China's military strength remains formidable, Taiwan is better prepared than ever. Any invasion attempt would not only face fierce resistance, but also economic and diplomatic retaliation from a broad coalition of nations. The longer China waits, the stronger Taiwan becomes, while Beijing's internal challenges continue to grow. Although China may still try to pressure Taiwan through economic influence, cyber warfare, and disinformation, a full-scale military invasion now seems an increasingly risky gamble. The Taiwan Strait remains one of the most sensitive flashpoints in global politics. But one thing is clear: an easy Chinese takeover of Taiwan is no longer on the table. Share your thoughts in the comments. We'll be sure to read them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like our videos.